China's electric vehicle market is facing a serious turning point. On paper, the numbers look impressive. Production capacity has surpassed 30 million vehicles a year. Market penetration has exceeded 50%. For years, China has been the world's largest new energy vehicle market. But behind the headlines, cracks are beginning to show. Factories can produce more than 30 million vehicles annually. Yet actual sales last year were under 10 million. That gap tells you something important. Supply is exploding, but demand is not keeping up. And now, a deeper problem is emerging: safety. On December 6th, a major fire broke out in a parking lot in Baiyun District, Guangzhou. An electric vehicle suddenly caught fire while parked. Within moments, flames spread to nearby vehicles. Thick smoke filled the air. Explosions could be heard continuously. The burned area eventually exceeded 90 square meters. Videos captured by bystanders show surrounding cars scrambling to reverse away. Some vehicles appeared to malfunction and slide due to electronic system failures. The scene was chaotic. People were shouting. No one dared approach. In another incident in early December, a spontaneous combustion accident occurred in the underground garage of Evergrande City in Jinan, Shandong Province. In the enclosed space, the fire spread rapidly. Multiple vehicles were either burned to their frames or blackened by smoke. Fortunately, the fire did not reach the residential buildings above. If it had, the consequences could have been catastrophic. After the explosion, the area's water supply system was disrupted. Residents temporarily relied on emergency water trucks for basic daily needs. Now, these incidents have once again pushed the issue of electric vehicle battery safety into the spotlight. In response, many underground parking garages have begun posting clear signs. Electric vehicles are prohibited from entering. For many EV owners, this feels like a cruel irony. After spending hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions, of yuan on homes and parking spaces, they are now told their vehicles are not allowed underground. Meanwhile, gasoline vehicles continue to park without restriction. Hotels, hospitals, museums, and residential compounds in various cities have reportedly restricted EV access to underground garages. The reasoning is straightforward: the risk of spontaneous combustion. Think about the risk calculation. Luxury residential garages often contain high-value vehicles. Museums store priceless artifacts. And hospitals house patients in fragile condition. In a confined underground space, a battery fire is difficult to control and potentially devastating. At the heart of the concern is the battery. Over the past decade, China's electric vehicle industry has expanded at extraordinary speed. Beginning around 2015, massive government subsidies fueled aggressive growth. Authorities aimed to leapfrog traditional internal combustion engine technology by pushing battery electric systems to scale. The strategy worked, at least in terms of scale. Production and sales surged. Dozens of brands entered the market. Supply chains expanded rapidly, but rapid expansion often brings hidden risks. Some industry observers have warned that 2025 to 2027 could mark a concentrated period of battery-related incidents. Why? Because three major risk factors are converging. First, synchronized battery aging. China's first major wave of electric vehicle adoption occurred between 2020 and 2023. Many of those vehicles used ternary lithium batteries or early-generation lithium iron phosphate batteries. According to industry life cycle data, noticeable degradation often begins after 3 years of use. By year 4, battery management system misjudgments become more likely. By year 5, the probability of thermal runaway increases significantly. This means that vehicles sold in 2020 and 2021 will enter a higher risk aging phase around the end of 2025. Second, the aftermath of the 2021 to 2023 price wars. As subsidies were gradually reduced, automakers faced intense competition. In order to maintain sales volume, cost-cutting pressures spread throughout the supply chain. From battery cells to separators, materials were squeezed. Safety inspection processes were reportedly shortened in some cases. Battery failures rarely occur immediately after leaving the factory. Instead, defects often surface 3 to 4 years later, triggered by aging, short circuits, or thermal instability. That timeline again points toward 2025 and beyond. Third, the recycling and secondary use surge. As early-generation EV batteries reach retirement age, dismantling, transportation, and recycling introduce additional risks. Thermal runaway is often more likely during these handling stages than during normal vehicle use. Meanwhile, the secondary battery market has grown rapidly. Used batteries are repurposed for energy storage systems, low-speed electric vehicles, and charging stations. Regulation in this gray area is still developing, creating potential safety gaps. At the same time, production growth has pushed the battery supply chain to its limits. Major manufacturers operate at full capacity. Smaller second- and third-tier suppliers rushed in to capture orders. In such an environment, quality control gaps can widen. All of this has led some experts to warn that China's battery industry may soon face its first true systemic safety stress test. In response to public concern, regulators have begun tightening standards. Starting November 1st, China implemented lithium-ion battery coating requirements. Each power battery now carries a traceable identification code from production to installation, use, and recycling. In theory, this improves accountability if an incident occurs. More importantly, a new mandatory national battery safety standard drafted by the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology will take effect in mid-2026. Many in the industry describe it as the strictest battery safety regulation to date. The new standard raises requirements for thermal propagation control. Even if a single battery cell undergoes thermal runaway, the battery pack must not catch fire or explode. It must also provide timely warnings and smoke control to protect passengers. Additional mandatory testing requirements have been added. However, the timing has sparked debate. Some online commentators argue that introducing stricter standards now implicitly acknowledges that previous standards were insufficient. Others question whether implementation in 2026 may be too late. Battery safety is only one side of the challenge. The other is market demand. On December 8th, the China Passenger Car Association released November sales data. Retail passenger vehicle sales reached 2.25 million units, down 8.1% year-on-year and 1.1% month-on-month. It marked the second consecutive monthly decline. In the sales rankings, BYD, Geely, and FAW Volkswagen remained the top three. However, both BYD and FAW Volkswagen recorded year-on-year declines. BYD's drop was particularly notable at 26.5%. FAW Volkswagen declined 6.5%. Chery, Changan, SAIC Volkswagen, and FAW Toyota saw declines exceeding 20%. BYD's retail sales have now declined for 3 consecutive months. At a shareholders' meeting, BYD chairman Wang Chuanfu acknowledged that domestic sales have softened. He cited reduced technological advantage compared to previous years and weaknesses such as winter charging performance and low-temperature thermal management challenges. Industry analysts expect December to remain flat or slightly down due to weak consumer sentiment. Looking ahead to 2026, pressure could intensify. The purchase tax policy for new energy vehicles will shift from full exemption to a 50% reduction. This reduces overall consumer tax benefits by hundreds of billions of yuan. At the same time, dealer sentiment is pessimistic. More than 80% of dealers surveyed expressed negative expectations for business conditions. Rumors have circulated online suggesting that new energy vehicles may not receive the same strategic emphasis in the upcoming 15th five-year plan. These rumors remain unconfirmed. However, some analysts interpret recent policy shifts not as abandonment, but as a transition from expansion to consolidation, from rapid scale building to quality improvement. After more than a decade of heavy subsidy support, authorities may believe the industry should now stand on its own. Yet subsidy-driven growth has left side effects. The first is severe overcapacity. Production capacity exceeds 30 million vehicles annually, while sales remain under 10 million. Many newly built factories operate below utilization rates or site idle. Yet the second is technological dependency. Critical automotive chips, advanced electronic control systems, and some battery materials still rely heavily on imports. In some cases, domestic development has focused more on assembly and integration than on foundational innovation. As subsidies are phased out and standards tighten, weaker companies may struggle to survive. Industry restructuring could impact employment, supplier networks, and even local government finances, particularly in regions that invested heavily in EV manufacturing clusters. This raises a broader question. If reducing subsidies risks triggering industry-wide stress, why were such massive subsidies deployed in the first place? Why not allow slower, more organic growth? The answer may lie in the nature of industrial policy. When authorities decide to prioritize a strategic sector, resources are concentrated rapidly, subsidies accelerate expansion, capacity scales up quickly. In the short term, production numbers surge and global rankings improve. But if core technologies are not fully mature before scale expansion, risks accumulate beneath the surface. Now, China's electric vehicle industry appears to be entering a new phase, one defined less by speed and more by stability, safety, and sustainability. The coming years will test whether the industry can transition from subsidy-driven hypergrowth to durable, technology-driven competitiveness. Battery safety, market demand, regulatory tightening, cost pressures, overcapacity. All of these forces are converging at the same time. The electric vehicle revolution in China is not over. But it is no longer a simple growth story. It has become a stress test. Thank you for watching our program. Your feedback helps us improve every day.